He was still shouting when I noticed the silence inside my mind. His voice, strained, broken and frantic, kept bouncing off the kitchen tiles. But a part of me had already detached, observing him as if he were a stranger. 12 minutes. 12 minutes late returning from the local grocery store. 12 minutes that finally shattered the illusion. I stood there, my car keys still clutched in my hand, the chilled metal biting my palm as he lunged toward me, inhaling the scent of my clothes like a bloodhound searching for deception. "Who were you with?" His breath was warm and agitated, his hands shaking with a paranoia he attempted to pass off as intense devotion. All I could think was I should have done this ages ago. Years ago, when he still represented security, I didn't encounter him during a crisis. I met him in a calm corner at a friend's social gathering in Detroit, where he smiled as if his presence alone could keep the entire world steady. He was gentle back then, kind, the type of man who inquired about your day, as if he genuinely cared about the response. He had been deceived previously. His former partner, a phantom he carried like a deep injury he displayed with pride. "It crushed me," he confessed one time, his voice faltering into my hands, as if I were responsible for mending him. And I believed him. I believed I could be the reason he ceased hurting. So when he requested affirmation, I provided it, modestly at first. Harmless compromises disguised as tenderness. Then it rapidly increased. Location sharing just for reassurance, passwords just so he could trust again. No male acquaintances because he couldn't handle the comparison. Video calls during my lunch break so he knew where I was. Every request came packaged in trembling vulnerability, and I mistook it for sincerity. What I failed to see was the voracious appetite beneath it. Quiet, patient, waiting to consume me. But affection makes fools of the sensible, and commitment makes captives of the loyal. The transformation, when the constraints began to tighten, occurred gradually. Restrict, accuse, apologize, repeat. Then came the minute-by-minute tracking of my commute, the nightly inspection of my mobile phone, the way he would freeze whenever a masculine voice came too close. A shop assistant, a colleague, a random man on a bus, and his eyes would narrow, calculating, as if he were hunting something only visible to him. I persuaded myself it was unresolved trauma, that he was healing, that tolerance equaled love. What I failed to grasp was that his trust wasn't delicate, it was absent. And he wasn't recovering, he was praying. Then last week something minor finally snapped. I arrived home 7 minutes late from my job. 7 minutes. He didn't shout. He didn't issue an accusation. He merely stared at me, his face emotionless, his eyes vacant, and he whispered, "You're getting careless." It was the manner in which he spoke the words, calmly, matter-of-factly, like a doctor diagnosing a sickness, that sent a chill through me, as if I belonged to him and he was assessing the damage. That evening I lay awake beside him, listening to his breathing, and realized he wasn't afraid of losing me. He was terrified of losing his dominion, and abruptly my silence was no longer affection. It was a tactical maneuver. The blueprint was subtle, straightforward, and flawless. I didn't yell. I didn't retaliate. I didn't conspicuously pack my belongings in the middle of the night. I simply changed my approach quietly. Step 1. I ceased defending my actions. Nothing fuels paranoia more than confrontation. So I offered him silent compliance while meticulously logging everything. The accusations, the phone scrutiny, the journeys he timed down to the second. Step 2. I notified my workplace. Not dramatically, not as a casualty, but as someone preparing for a change. Their reaction was immediate. Involvement from human resources, a security protocol, discreet backing. Step 3. I telephoned my older brother, disclosing every detail. His silence on the opposite end was not surprise. It was barely contained rage. Step 4. I consulted with a solicitor, a woman. She listened like a surgeon, with precision, not sentiment. She posed one query: do you wish to leave silently, or do you want him to fully grasp the severity of his actions? I didn't hesitate. I chose both. The moment was now, 12 minutes too late. So there I was again in the kitchen while he ranted, demanded, accused, and lost control. He grabbed my forearm, too tightly, too possessively. I didn't recoil. Instead, I stared directly into his eyes, composed, unwavering, steady. "I know," I murmured. He froze. "Know what? What are you talking about?" "That you're not checking to feel secure anymore," I said softly. "You're checking to feel powerful." His eyebrows lowered. "What are you talking about?" But I offered no response. I simply reached into my satchel and placed the folder on the countertop. His name printed on the cover. Clean, legal, undeniable. He opened it slowly. Confusion, dawning comprehension. Pure shock. A protective order. Lease termination documentation. The HR report. An affidavit. Screenshots of a 2-year pattern presented in chronological, irrefutable detail. His mouth dropped open before any sound escaped. What have you done?" "I stopped attempting to prove I wasn't her," I stated quietly. "And I started demonstrating who you are." His legs nearly gave way. Control vanished, power draining from his grasp like sand. He whispered my name like a plea, but I was already heading toward the exit.